Sometimes life tries to keep you down. Sometimes it's hard to fight another round. Maybe you feel like you're spinning your wheels in vain. Well, it's hard to tell where someone's been when you're on the outside looking in. You just see the rainbow, you don't notice the rain. Well, I had a burden to pray for you. Somebody in heaven must have wanted me to. I woke up this morning with you on my mind. Behind to a smile I can see the shame, but I believe angels are whispering your name, telling the Father what you're going through. Somebody in heaven sure thinks a lot of you.
Jesus was baptized by John in the River Jordan. And just as soon as Jesus was baptized, the Spirit led him into the wilderness. The Spirit of God led him into the wilderness to be tested, to be tempted by the devil. Jesus fasted and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights, and he became weak physically. And the devil comes to him, and the devil tempts Jesus on all points, but yet Jesus did not fall to any temptation. Think about that. Every temptation you have ever felt, Jesus felt that temptation, but he didn't fall to that temptation. Temptation, does it ever leave us? Did it ever leave Jesus? I think temptation stays with us our whole lives. We are tempted by different things at different points in our life. Jesus was tempted by Satan, by the devil, in the wilderness, but that's not the only time that he was tempted. He was tempted throughout his life. The Last Supper, Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him, and he knew he would be handed over to the Romans. He tells Judas, "Do what you do it quickly," and Judas leaves. And he and the rest of the disciples go to a garden known as Gethsemane. And Jesus falls down upon a rock and he prays. And in that prayer, we hear that prayer. He says, "If there's another way, let this cup pass from me." Maybe there was some temptation there. But he says, "Not my way, but your way be done." Then later, at the end of his life, he's on the cross and the people gather around and they say, "Well, he healed others. Can he not help himself?" They look up at him and they say, "If you are the Son of God, come down from that cross." And maybe there was some temptation there. You see, I believe that Jesus was tempted all throughout his life. And I think we will be tempted all throughout our lives. It's been my experience that temptation doesn't just leave you. It sort of hovers around all the time. So many things to be tempted by this day and time. Years ago, me and my friend Ben built a treehouse. It was in a wild cherry tree. It was between my house and the Esso gas station. We would climb up that tree and watch what was going on over at the Esso gas station. Jennings Brannon owned that station. This was a time when many people smoked cigarettes. Almost everybody smoked cigarettes. And of course, we were tempted. We were tempted to try to smoke a cigarette. We climbed up on our treehouse, and our plan was to go and steal a pack of cigarettes. Now, we were afraid of the owner, Jennings Brannon, but every day at noon, he would go out, take off for lunch. And his helper, Lowell Piatt, would be there by himself. Now, Ben come up with the plan. He was to distract Lowell, and I was to steal the cigarettes. Well, he started talking to Lowell, and I slipped behind the counter, and I got a pack of Sir Walter Raleighs, stuck them in my pocket, we went back and we climbed up on that treehouse, and we lit one of those cigarettes up, and we began smoking them. Before we got the cigarette finished, Lowell Piatt come around the station, looked up into the tree at us and said, "I hope you are enjoying those Raleigh cigarettes." And we thought, oh no, he'll tell our parents and boy, we'll get the what for. We'll be grounded and much worse. But you know, he never told anybody. He never told anybody. That was temptation when I was young, but you know, temptation follows us around all our lives. I remember when I was in high school, my sister was getting married. She was getting married in another state. And of course, everybody was making big plans. Well, her marriage date fell on a date I had to practice basketball. Well, I couldn't miss practice. Well, I could have. I didn't want to. I didn't want to miss practice, but there was another thing I didn't want to miss, was they were having a party, and there was going to be girls there. Well, I convinced my parents that I really needed to go to basketball practice. And about 2 or 3 days before the wedding date, the coach called off basketball practice. I was put in the middle of temptation. What would I do? Well, I wanted to go to that party. So I didn't tell my parents that basketball practice was called off. I lied. And you know what happened? Didn't have basketball practice. Went to the party and the girls weren't there. And somebody told my parents that they called off basketball practice. So it just didn't work out to me. I fell to that temptation. We've all been tempted. We've been tempted to do things. We've been tempted to say things. We have been tempted. If we look back across our lives, it seems like it's followed us up until this very point. If I had told my parents that I stole the pack of Sir Raleigh cigarettes, if I told them I lied to them about basketball practice, do you think they would have forgiven me? Of course they would. They would have forgiven me because they love me. Things we do, times we fall to temptation, whatever that is. Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we say, whatever temptation is around us, if we fall to that temptation, if we ask the Lord, do you think He will forgive us? Of course He will. Amen.
So you pray for me and I pray for you, 'cause we need each other to make it through. Someday the sun gonna shine, you're gonna see. And sometimes when things ain't going great, I'm $1 short and a couple days late. That's when I'm hoping you say these words to me. Well, I have a burden to pray for you. Somebody in heaven must have wanted me to. I woke up this morning Behind your smile I can see the pain. I believe James was whispering your name, hailing the Father